Well, good morning. At least it's morning at the Hyattville campus here where I'm recording from. This is the studio, the live recording studio anyway. It happens to be in our kitchen. We live just beneath the beautiful Bighorn Mountains. Cloud Peak is just to the east of us. And what a place to be from and be able to enjoy. Anyway, I wanted to just throw you out a little bit of my thoughts on this thing of debt and using it as an instrument, as a tool in business. I'd be lying to myself if I sent all of you out after this class and everybody completely swore off debt. The first part of the class, I just want to explain it maybe a little better. Maybe you'll have now that we've gone through some of this personal finance information, you'll have a better idea where we're coming from or where we wanted to go on all of this. But was to give you a solid foundation, understanding that your income is the biggest part of how you can change your own lives. Okay. Other than a few other things like religion and things like that, your income is going to have the hugest, is that a word, the largest impact on where you are in 20 or 30 years. And it can change over time, and will change most likely. That's for most people as they go through their lives. We wanted to give you a great underpinning for budgeting. Okay, so that when we started talking about enterprise budgets, partial budgets, cash flow budgets, all that kind of stuff, that you could actually go back to your own situations and know what an actual budget and how it affects you. Okay, because, and I said this earlier in class, is that if you are a mess or what we would call a wreck personally in your finances, that's the last kind of person that I want to hire as a manager to cover all my business affairs. And that's what we're trying to train is future business leaders. That's why we talk about in this class your mission statement and how to develop one and what goes into it and all that stuff first. And then we, from your mission statement, we talked about decision making, good decisions, having a good mission and objectives and goals and things like that gives you the power. It empowers you to make good decisions that are going to keep you on the path that you want to be on. Okay, so those are kind of the foundation that we've built, and that's pretty exciting to be able to do that and live through it and see you guys develop through that. Even though a lot of you being in agriculture you've gone through FFA, 4-H, and all that kind of stuff. You already have those underpinnings, but sometimes there's not clarity that needs to happen in order to be a driving force in your life. So anyway, going over those things is just going to get you a little bit farther in life. And that's why we did it. And I think they're integral when we start talking about management, because you're either going to be your own great manager or you're going to be somebody else's. They're going to hire you to be a great manager. Nobody's going to hire you to be a mediocre manager, especially of their finances, okay? And if you don't have your own personal stuff together, then you're not going to have their best interest at heart, okay? Now, let's get to this stuff. And I asked a kind of a provocative question in the last forum. I talked about, well, what do you think about this? Dave Ramsey's, the main theme of what he has to say is that, debt is, somewhat evil. It's dumb. I mean, those are the things that he says it's dumb. Okay, there's other places, if you look at the Bible and things like that, it actually says that it's a fool's place to be. But and I think those are things that are really important to pay attention to. It is, I would say, somewhat unrealistic to say that you're going to live completely, especially in this country, without some kind of debt instruments, at least using it. the few things we cover it very much in depth is I want you to consider not going into debt, or to be very, 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 did I say that enough? Very conservative when you're talking about debt. Okay. Now I'll bring myself into this thing. It's not about me, but on the same token, some of my experiences could add some flavor to this discussion. And they are, is that I have used debt. Okay. I've used it effectively. I've used it stupidly. I mean, I've financed cars, I've financed tractors, I've financed equipment and all that stuff for the farm. I've had regular business financing with a line of credit for years and years and years. And with that comes some real responsibilities and some ramifications. Okay. If you put yourself into debt, it's going to do is going to create it may enable you to get bigger faster. There's no doubt about that, you know, and in order to look bigger faster, but it also limits the opportunities to do something else. And you know, in today's business environment, flexibility is really, really, really an important part of the whole game. Is that sometimes we have to see what's coming and make a decision so that we can switch tracks and get on to the next output. I mean, we might talk about alternative crops, alternative ways of farming. We may have to change our genetics within the herd. We may have to put in different sprinkler systems if something's come along. Just think about all the people in California that all of a sudden don't have very many alternatives. They don't irrigate the crops. Okay, that's a big time decision that they're going to continue to operate coming down the pike if they're not already there now. Just for an example, and going back to me, if I were to do it over again, okay, I love what I'm doing. I'm passionate about it, and I hope that's the case for you. I absolutely would not have financed anything that's depreciable. That should be the number one thing, and that is probably, you know, you guys have brought that out in your discussions, which I've really, really enjoyed. Okay, is that depreciable assets do not deserve financing. Period. End of story. Never look at it again. Okay, you have to have some kind of payback also. So I mean, in all that kind of thing, I'm totally not against mortgaging. And if you dig down deep, actually, Dave has a whole business finance part of his business, of his teachings, and he's not totally against debt. But and especially, I mean, for he himself, so that he is a good example. At this point in his life, he doesn't finance anything, but he realizes other people's situations are different, and also that there is a possibility that you may have to do some financing. You may have to buy land, you may have to buy certain things that are not going to depreciate, that are going to be used within the business. So there may have to be some financing incorporated into it. Another core part of what his teaching is, and this should be the light at the end of the tunnel for most of us, is that at some point in your career, it's not a bad thing to be completely debt-free. Okay? Now let me just kind of go back and visit this a little more. Take a look at our culture is completely about debt. Okay, they want to sign up for 90-day savings camps. They want to issue everybody in the universe, including our first, second, third, fourth, fifth born, a credit card at any age, especially when you graduate from high school. That's the time that they get you in. And you've seen that in the videos, and you've probably experienced it as well, okay? They all want to get you into debt. And what we're trying to just have you think about is maybe there's a different way. And typically, people that are counter to the experiences of culture usually fare better. And I mean, there's hundreds of examples within the videos that you've gone through with examples where if you are countercultural in your thinking right here, then you can win. We're just trying to change actually attitudes. We're just trying to change some behaviors, some basic behaviors because of what's out there. We just did a unit in one of the other classes that I'm teaching here in the community, and it just talked about buyer beware. All the inputs and the commercialization and advertising that goes into the people that are on this planet today, it's unbelievable. I mean, you don't even have to own a TV. Most people think that's the way that information is to you, or they're actually trying to change a want. Is that a want is something that maybe I don't really need it. I don't need it to live or anything like that. But they're trying to convert that into a need because they want to sell to you, they want to be profitable and all that kind of stuff, okay? So even if you don't have the money, you can finance that. You can finance anything. And you know what? You deserve, you really do. You deserve a brand new car with brand new car smell, or a fancy pickup truck that's brand new, a diesel GMC Jimmy, 4-wheel drive, jacked up and all that kind of stuff. You deserve that. Whether you can pay for it or not, you deserve it. And maybe you do, but maybe you might have to employ some patience and be able to buy that stuff with cash in the end. After living the short life or long life compared to maybe you in class, I will tell you that those are, if you just have some patience, many of these things will be available to you, and it won't be a bad experience for you. If you want a great truck, if you want, a $350,000 John Deere tractor, then if you want a 48-row corn planter, if you want a large farm, those things are available to you if you have patience. Overnight successes, and I think I said this earlier in class, typically take around 20 to 25 years. Okay, that always struck me. The first time I heard it say, it's like, huh. Okay, now that I've lived it, it is so true. And I know Dave's got these little one-liners, and if once you've lived these kinds of things, you kind of understand what he talks about. If you will live like no one else, okay, if you will budget, if you will live beneath your means, all those kinds of things, if you will be very, very, very conservative with debt, you will reap what you sow. You will live like no one else in the end. Because the culture in the end is just trying to pay off everything that they live on all that time they're having a party with. But after 20 years of business, and I'm just saying that it could be shorter, it could be longer, but after that some amount of time, you're going to be countercultural. You'll be partying at the end where you can say, if I want that tractor, brand new, brand spanking new, polished, right off the lot. If I want that brand new pickup, if I want to go buy that ranch, it's available to you. So anyway, my, it's interesting, the discussion. I love it. And I wish we were in a classroom where we could just speak face to face, but this is the best we can do with an online class. I want to tell you, I'm not against debt. I am truly, truly very much want to use it as a tool in a very, very vastly conservative way. And I want the light at the end of the tunnel to be there. I don't have any more debt in the business and in my personal life. So anyway, that's my take on it. I really, really have enjoyed your take on it. Those of you that are a little bit younger, not to say that you will change, but I would say after getting involved, into the intricacies of ag business or whatever you intend to do or end up being in. Many of our great minds in ag end up in other parts of business throughout the nation, but you're going to evolve with that thing of debt. And my intention in this class is not to make it an anti-debt class. My intention is that we just study something that nobody else is studying, or in a way that somebody else in another class that's similar would not look at debt. Most classes are going to say that, here's where you get the debt, and this is how you build up your credit and all that kind of stuff. And they're not going to study, even use or give that as an option of being conservative or staying out of debt. Okay. So anyway, I enjoyed it, and we're going to get off of here. Coming to you from the beautiful studio of the Hyattville Casper College campus. This is Todd Jones. I'm signing out.